Chapter 7 Red Crash Helmets and White Jumpsuits. After the movies, Tom walked home with Billy. Tomorrow I'll roll the crawler in cornmeal and fry it like a trout. It's not really the taste, said Billy. It's more the thought. When I start to eat it, even though it's smothered in ketchup and mustard and grated cheese, I can't stop thinking worm, 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 gaggles of worms. In bait boxes, drowned worms drying up on sidewalks, a worm screaming as a fish hook gores into him, the soggy end of a worm dragging out of a dead fish's mouth, robins yanking worms out of a lawn. I can't stop thinking worm. Yeah, but if I fry it in cornmeal, it won't look like a crawler, said Tom. I'll put parsley around it and some slices of lemon, and then you can concentrate. Think fish. All the time you're waiting in the barn, all the time you're eating it, keep saying to yourself, fish, 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 fish. Here I am eating fish, good fish. Trout, salmon, flounder, perch. I'll ride my mini bike into church. Dace, tuna, haddock, trout. Wait till you hear the minister shout. Fish, 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 fish. Shark, haddock, sucker, eel, I'll race my father in his automobile. Eel, flounder, bluegill, shark, we'll race all day until after dark. Billy cheered up. Think how they'd all stare. I'd rev up the aisle, zip around the front pews, down a side aisle, under the stained glass windows. My parents would kill me. Reverend Yardard peered down over the Bible stand. William, he'd cry, William, you take that engine thing out of here this minute. Yeah, and then they'd come chasing out after us, said Tom. Billy laughed, waving their arms and yelling, and we'd lead them zigzag round and round and in and out among the gravestones and monuments in the cemetery, and then roar off down the Sandgate Road, leaving them draped over tombs, panting and shaking their fists. Hup, hup, yelled Tom, dancing around and boxing the air. And that Monday we'd smuggle it into class disguised as Raymond Dwelly because he's so fat and hide it in the coat closet. And then when Millie Butler said anything at all, even something like, excuse me, or if she even sniffed, we'd dump a whole bottle of ink over her head and run for the coat closet, overturning chairs and desks behind us to slow up Mrs. Howard. She'd come after us, fuming and shouting threats, and suddenly the doors of the coat closet would slam open, and out we'd roar on our mini bike in blood red crash helmets and white jumpsuits, our scarves streaming out behind us, and we'd roar around and round the classroom while Mrs. Howard knelt among the overturned desks and chairs, sobbing helplessly into her hands, and then room, room, out the door and up the hill, thumbing our noses at the monitors, brackety, 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 up the stairs, stiff arming tacklers into Mr. Simmons' office, up onto his desk, vroom, vroom, a backfire into his face, and zoom out the window as he topples backwards in his chair in a hurricane of quiz papers and report cards. And then crunch, landing on the driveway. We roar off down the highway to Burnington, enjoying the Navy so Mrs. Howard and Mr. Simmons and our parents can't punish us. Chapter 8 The Third Worm. Tom ran out of the kitchen at Billy's house, holding this sizzling frying pan out in front of him with both hands, the screen door banging behind him. Ellen threw open the barn door when he saw him coming. Tom thumped the frying pan down on the orange crate. There, he said breathlessly. Done to a T. Look at her, all golden brown and sizzling. It looks good enough to eat. Yeah, said Billy. He poked the worm with his fork. Tom took off the potholder glove he was wearing. Think fish, he said. Remember, think fish. Trout, salmon, flounder, perch. I'll ride my mini bike into church. Eel, salmon, bluegill, trout. Wait till you hear the minister shout. Clam, flounder, tuna, sucker. Look out, here we come, old Mrs. Tucker. Lobster, black bass, oyster stew. There goes New Orleans. Here comes Peru. He leaned over Billy and whispered in his ear, fish, 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 fish. Go on, take a bite. Fish, 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 fish. Okay, second bite. Fish, 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 fish. Chapter 9 The Plotters. Geez, you think it'll work? Said Ellen to Joe. Suppose it doesn't. He didn't seem to pay much attention today. Don't worry, said Joe. We got him thinking. It takes time. I got it all doped out. Trust me.